Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into another episode of the Before I Go podcast. It is February 1st, the second month of the new year, and I wanted to check in and see how you are doing with your resolutions or goals or whatever you're calling them. In episode 59, I talked about the difference between resolutions and goals, and I indicated that in 2022, I would read the entire Bible in a year. So far, so good. I have not missed a week. And I feel like so much is being revealed to me. In other words, I'm seeing things that I've seen before just in a different way. And as a result, I'm bringing you this episode on being intentional. I have found that so many of us fail at fulfilling our resolutions/goals because of a lack of intentionality. We, and I include myself in this, are looking for the easiest route from A to B. I am a person, admittedly, who is easily distracted, so getting off course happens quite a bit. We read books on manifestation, and we think that if we think about something hard enough, then it will magically happen. If we visualize the perfect partner, then they will miraculously appear at our front door. Or we read the book, write it down, make it happen, and we think that all we have to do is create a vision board and boom, everything we always wanted will show up in our lives. Or was that just me? Anyway, if you've tried any of these strategies and failed, then you realize that it takes more than positive thinking and vision boards. Without being consistently intentional, none of it works. And that means putting in the work. At my church, we celebrate a month of prayer during January. This is a time when we have round-the-clock prayer services, prayer meetings throughout the week, weekly revival services, all focused on the power of prayer. This is the time when you seek God like never before. It can look different for everyone, but the idea is to remind everyone that our church is a house of prayer. It all begins and ends with prayer. A well-known scripture that I generally turn to regarding prayer is 2 Chronicles 7:14, which says, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sins and heal their land." There's a lot in that verse, so I usually break it down into two parts, my part and God's part. My part is to humble myself, pray, seek, and turn. God's part is to hear, forgive, and heal. The verse clearly indicates that I have to do my part first, and then, and only then, will God do his part. I have never had an issue with humbling myself to pray, and I'm actively seeking God's face this year by traveling through my Bible. However, when it comes to the turn part, I believe I may have fallen short. During the month of January, I believe that God has shown me that I have not been intentional when it comes to turning from my wicked ways. Now, I don't want you to get hung up on the language here. Wicked ways can be defined as anything that takes you away from God, anything that distracts you from seeking God, or anything that distracts you from whatever your goal is. Television, social media, certain relationships, etc., whatever it is. Now, one thing that I pray consistently is for God to remove the distractions so I can better hear from him. But what I should be praying is for strength to turn away from the distractions. Turning away from the distraction is being intentional as opposed to simply waiting for God to remove the distractions. Also, if you feel like you're not strong enough to turn away, just take the first step. Take that first step, and I promise you God will do the rest. When I was a kid, I remember hearing a song that said, "Lord, don't move this mountain, but give me the strength to climb. Lord, don't take away this stumbling block, but lead me all around." Same thing. Being intentional is not always easy. However, I feel if you can train yourself to look at the bigger picture, it can be less challenging. Another area that I'm working on this year is saving more and spending less. The idea is to eliminate all debt, including my mortgage, so I don't go into retirement with a ton of bills. That's the big picture that I focus on each time I see a pair of shoes or a cute outfit that I think I need. The temporary discomfort of not spending money on everything I see will pay off as long as I remain intentional, focused, and consistent. Another example is that I am intentional about not dating. Full disclosure, men have always been a huge distraction for me, and historically, when I would be on a path to do this or that, if some guy showed up, I would allow myself to be distracted. This year, I am making it my business to intentionally turn away from those distractions. I do not have time for the foolishness. There are too many things that I have to do before I go, and the only way that they will be accomplished is if I'm intentional, focused, and consistent. So what about you? How are you doing with your resolutions/goals? If it's not going perfectly, don't beat yourself up. It's only February, and you can still make the decision to be more intentional. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening. But before I go, let me share this with you from John C. Maxwell. An unintentional life accepts everything and does nothing. An intentional life embraces only the things that will add to the mission of significance. I'll see you next time.